Hola a todos, mi nombre es Juani. The best uses of the verb llevar in Spanish for beginners, in my opinion, is talking about durations of time. So in short, you're going to learn today how to say what you have been or what you haven't been doing in Spanish. Now, first of all, why do you think this is important? The reason it's important is because it opens up so many useful questions and answers that you can give when you're speaking with native speakers. Por ejemplo, how long have you been living here? ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo aquí? ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo aquí? So you'll notice here that this is a very useful question, especially if you live in a non-Spanish speaking country and you just happen to meet or you happen to run into a native speaker. Let's break this phrase down. So first of all, you'll notice that we're conjugating the verb llevar in the du form, llevas, but then you'll also notice that we're using a gerund, or in English, adding the ing onto the verb vivir, to live. So vivir becomes viviendo, viviendo. Now, if you're not sure how to construct gerunds, we did go through that in the previous video, so check that out if you need to. But you can see there that question, ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas viviendo aquí? It's very easy to actually construct. Let's go through a few more examples, though, so that you start to get the hang of it. Now, for myself, I've been learning Spanish for 5 years. So if I wanted to say that to someone, I would say, Llevo 5 años aprendiendo español. Llevo 5 años aprendiendo español. If we break it down, again, you can see this time we're conjugating the verb llevar in the present indicative in the yo form, llevo. We're then using the period of time. So I've been learning Spanish for 5 years. Llevo 5 años. We're then adding the ing onto the verb aprender, to learn. So aprender becomes aprendiendo. And then español to complete the phrase. Llevo 5 años aprendiendo español. You can see it's pretty simple to construct, isn't it? Let's now try a few examples, and this time I want you to translate these ones for me. Now, how would you say in Spanish, I have been studying Spanish for 3 years? This time you'd say, Llevo 3 años estudiando español. Llevo 3 años estudiando español. Again, if we break it down, we're conjugating llevar in the yo form, llevo. We're then using the period of time, 3 años. Then we're adding the ing onto the verb estudiar, to study, estudiando. And that completes the phrase for us. So again, pretty simple to learn, isn't it? Let's try another one. How would you say, I have been training for 10 years? Nice and simple. Llevo 10 años entrenando. Llevo 10 años entrenando. Using the verb entrenar, to train. Let's try another one. Let's say you run into a native Spanish speaker and they're in your country because they're wanting to learn English. So how would you say to them in Spanish, how long have you been learning English? This time you'd say, ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas aprendiendo inglés? ¿Cuánto tiempo llevas aprendiendo inglés? Awesome work, everyone. Now, one very important thing to remember is if you want to say in Spanish with the verb llevar what you have not been doing, the construction is slightly different. Por ejemplo, I have not spoken with my parents for 2 weeks. Llevo 2 semanas sin hablar con mis padres. Llevo 2 semanas sin hablar con mis padres. If we break this down, you'll first of all notice that we are still conjugating the verb llevar in the yo form, so llevo. We've still got the period of time, so I haven't spoken to my parents for 2 weeks. Llevo 2 semanas. But you'll notice here that we don't actually add the ing onto the end of the verb. We just leave the verb unconjugated in its infinitive form. So, llevo 2 semanas sin hablar con mis padres. Now you can see it's very simple to construct again, but there is a slight difference between saying what you have not been doing and what you have been doing. Now it's very simple, but let's go through a few exercises and a few more examples to help set it in for you. This time, how would you say, I haven't seen you for 2 months? I haven't seen you for 2 months. Nice and simple. Llevo 2 meses sin verte. Llevo 2 meses sin verte. Cool, so you try translating these ones. Let's say you've been a little bit lazy and you haven't studied Spanish for 3 weeks. So how would you say, I haven't studied Spanish for 3 weeks? This time you'd say, Llevo 3 semanas sin estudiar español. Llevo 3 semanas sin estudiar español. Good work. Let's say this time your friend has been lazy and you want to say, my friend hasn't trained for 4 weeks. My friend hasn't trained for 4 weeks. How would you say that? Cool. This time you'd say, mi amigo lleva 4 semanas sin entrenar. Mi amigo lleva 4 semanas sin entrenar. Good job, everyone. So go out there now and practice these in your Spanish conversations. As I mentioned earlier, this particular construction is very powerful and it's a very useful way to express what you have been or what you have not been doing. Obviously, the verb llevar is quite complex and there's many other uses to the verb, but these two in particular will really help you get your Spanish off the ground. As always, if I can help with anything else, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you are getting any value from these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And apart from that, I'll see you in the next one. Hasta pronto.